Okay. All right, everybody has had the chance to staple. One thing I want to make sure, do you guys all have a number 1 through 10? Did I give you guys all the correct papers? You should have a 1 through 10.
The people in the middle haven't been able to staple yet. They went around in a square.
Oh, okay. All right, so I am working with this document camera. This is the first time I've used it in this class. I started using it last week in a couple of other classes, and we'll see how this goes. But I like recording back here a little better just because it picks up my sound. And then I can write and I can use my calculator as well. So we are going to solve some systems of equations word problems. So whenever you are solving a system of equations, you have 2 variables. Now in this case, it does not tell you what variable to use. So the first thing I'm going to want you to do is tell me what your variables are going to represent. So if we look at this first example, it's telling us that, all right, so first of all, the first name is Jasmine. How would you guys pronounce that second name? Is it a silent N or a silent D? All right. So we'll just say J and N. All right, they are selling wrapping paper for a school fundraiser. Customers can buy rolls of plain wrapping paper and rolls of holiday paper. And it says Jasmine sold 13 rolls of plain wrapping paper, 14 rolls of holiday wrapping paper, and collected a total of $285. And then Neva sold 3 rolls of plain wrapping paper, 8 rolls of holiday paper, and collected a total of $123. And so if you guys look here, this is going to tell you, this last sentence is telling you what you are solving for. All right, so on this one it says, what is the cost of each? So 1 roll of plain wrapping paper and 1 roll of holiday. So we are looking for the cost of each one. So we have to identify variables. So what are the 2 things we're finding the cost of? What are our 2 different options?
Plain wrapping paper and holiday wrapping paper.
Plain and holiday. Do you guys want to use X and Y, or do you want to use other variables?
X and Y.
All right, let's go with that. So let's just say we are going to let X equal. Now, do you guys know that on any sort of test, I don't know why that's not focusing. There we go. Do you guys know that you can't just say let X equal plain wrapping paper? You know, say, have you guys been told that before? You have to specify what you are finding out about the plain wrapping paper. Do we want to know how many rolls of wrapping paper, or do we want to know the cost of the wrapping paper? All right, so you actually have to say cost of plain, and I'm just going to say paper. I'm not going to write wrapping paper. I think we're okay with that. So we're going to let X equal the cost of the plain paper, and we're going to let Y equal the cost of the other that we're looking for, which is the holiday paper. So on every single problem, I do expect you to tell me what X and Y are going to represent. And so in this case, we have 2 different totals. Each person has their own total, so we're going to write an equation for each person. So we want to look at Jasmine first. So that's going to be our first equation. What was the first thing that she sold?
13 rolls of plain.
All right, 13 rolls of plain. So we know X is representing our plain, so that's 13X. And what else did she sell?
14 holiday wrapping paper.
So 14 holiday papers, so 14Y, and that gave us a grand total of $285. So that was Jasmine's sales. And I am sorry, this is supposed to just look nice the whole time. I don't know why it's not. All right, now we have to write an equation for the second person. All right, what's the first thing that is sold?
3 rolls of plain.
3 rolls of plain. So that would be 3X because we decided X was plain. All right, and then how many rolls of holiday wrapping paper? 8. And that gave us a total of $123. So the first thing I'm looking for is that you identify your variables, and then we're going to write the equations. Now at this point, we are ready to solve. So we don't have anything that eliminates, so we are going to have to multiply. So if you guys don't know right off the top of your head what to multiply by, would you guys agree that as long as you multiply if you wanted to get the x's to eliminate, you would multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by 13. You would just do the opposites there. So do you guys want to multiply the x's by 3 and 13 to get those, or do you guys want to do 14 and 8?
Or 3 and 13.
3 and 13. All right, that sounds good to me. All right, so I'm going to multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by 13, because when you multiply those, they will eliminate. Now, at this point, everything is positive, right? Don't we need to make one of those negative so they cancel?
Yeah, the bottom one.
All right, let's make the bottom one negative, sure. It doesn't matter which one. And I'm sorry, every time we move, it's like, every time my hand moves, it's like it doesn't know what to do. All right, so now you guys have your calculators. Now I'm going to move this up just a little bit so I can get my calculator in there. All right, so my first one, 13 times 3 is 39x. Then 14 times 3 gives me 42y. And then 285 times 3 is 855. Are we all good with that top equation? All right, now on the bottom, we're multiplying everything by negative 13. So negative 13 times 3, which is negative 39x. Then we got negative 13 times 8, which is negative 104y. And then the last part, negative 13 times 123. Oh, negative 1599. All right, you're going to get big numbers, but it's okay. Like, you're still doing the same work. You're just adding bigger numbers, which we have calculators, so that's okay. All right, so tell me what's going to happen next.
39's gonna cancel out.
All right, the 39s are going to cancel out. And what does that leave? So for my y's, I'm going to take 42, but that's a negative, so I'm going to subtract 104. So what's left for my y's?
62.
Negative 62.
Negative 62y, and then I'm going to subtract 855 minus 1599.
Negative 744.
Negative 744. All right, and then we're dividing negative 744 by negative 62,
12.
and it comes out to a positive 12. All right, so what did we just find?
The Y.
Well, what is the Y?
Holiday wrapping paper.
All right, so the holiday paper is $12 a roll. I will tell you guys, Christmas wrapping paper tends to be more expensive than the rest of it. It's like one of those supply and demand things. You're going to pay more for it because you want it. All right, so are we done? All right, we got to go back and find X. So I would recommend using one of the originals just because it's smaller numbers. So do you guys want to use the 13x or the 3x equation?
3x.
All right, so we're going to go 3x plus 8, which now I know my y is 12, equals 123. What is 8 times 12?
96.
And then subtract 96 from both sides. And then we're going to subtract 123 minus 96 to get 27. All right, when I divide by 3, what's my cost of my plain paper? 9. All right, so now that we are talking about real life things, we do have to answer it in terms of real life answers with labels. So the first thing we're going to say is that the plain paper is how much? $9. And holiday paper is $12. So whenever you're working with word problems, you have to specify what your x's and y's are going to be. And then once you set up your equations, you do solve them like normal, but we have to go back. We have to explain what the 12 and 9 actually mean. So we're saying 9 goes with the plain paper, so that's a $9 cost. And then the holiday paper is 12. All right, how many of you guys remember doing these in Algebra 1 last year? You know, say these are like, I love these. These are my favorite type of word problems.
What's the hardest thing we do in here?
Huh?
What's the hardest thing we do in here?
This.
This.
Now, tomorrow we're going to talk about coins, so a lot of our work has decimals, but other than that, it's still the same thing. All right, so I actually want to skip number 2. And let's go to 3.
Are we gonna go back to number 2 or no? We're just skipping it completely.
So I'm picking a few to do, and then your assignment is to finish the packet on your own.
Alright.
So don't mark anything out. All right, so we have the senior classes at High School A and High School B are planning separate trips to an indoor climbing gym. And the senior class at High School A rented and filled 2 vans and 2 buses with 108 students. High School B rented and filled 11 vans and 3 buses with 226 students. Each van and each bus carried the same number of students. Find the number of students in each van and each bus. So I want to ask you guys first, what type of vehicle holds more? Does a van hold more people or a bus? All right, so whenever we solve our answers, we expect our bus number to be a lot bigger than our van number, correct? All right, if you guys just had to take a guess, how many people would you expect to be in a bus?
50.
50. 50-ish. All right, how many would you expect to be in a van?
15. 10.
You know, say, if it's a standard van, like 9, 8 or 9, but if it, like, sometimes you can rent those, like, big, like,
Yeah.
12 and 15 passenger vans. So it might be a little bit bigger. So what are we actually trying to find here?
Number of students in each van and each bus.
All right, we are looking for the number of students in each van and each bus. So do you guys want to use X and Y, or do you want to use V and B?
X and Y.
B
All right.
and B.
I heard X and Y first. So we are going to which one is X going to be? Our number in our van or the number in our buses? All right.
Oh, students.
So we are going to do number of students in each bus. And we're going to let Y equal the number of students in each van. All right, so in this case, to make each equation, it gives us information about each school. So we're going to write an equation for each school. So let's start out with High School A. All right, so they said 2 vans, 2 buses for 108 students. So what variable did we say is vans? No, we didn't. All right, so how would we write 2 vans? 2Y. And it's okay to have our variables in a different order. All right, so we got 2Y. How do we write 2 buses? 2X. And what's our total? 108. All right, now for High School B, we have a second equation. 11 vans, 3 buses with 226 students. So how do we write 11 vans?
11 Y.
11Y. And 3 buses.
3 X.
And 226 students. All right, so on this one, whenever we multiply, do you guys want to make the y's positive and negative 22, or do you want to make the x's positive and negative 6? Okay, so what will I multiply the top by? Okay, so we took care of the negative there. I'm okay with that. So if we made the top x negative 6, what do we need to multiply the bottom by? Just a positive 2. All right, so we are ready to multiply. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6y. Negative 3 times 2, I should make that a minus 6x, equals negative 3 times 108 is negative 324. All right, now what about the bottom equation? What's that going to become? What's 2 times 11y? 22y plus 3 times 2 is 6x. Now what's 226 times 2? 452. All right, so we've got our x's to eliminate. All right, so then it's time for us to get our calculator out. Negative 6 plus 22. How many y's do I have?
16.
Positive 16y. And then I got to take negative 324 plus 452.
128.
128. And then I'm going to divide that by 16. All right, did you all agree with y equals 8? All right, so is that talking about the number in the buses or in each van? In the van. Does that seem like a reasonable answer? Now, if we had solved that and gotten 28, what would you guys do? If you had gotten an answer that there's 28 people in the van, would you have thought you made a mistake? You know, say, we knew that we were expecting something around 10, maybe a little above, maybe a little below, but that's okay. All right, so now we have to plug it in to find x. Do you guys want to use the original top or the bottom? Do you guys want to use 2y or 11y? 2y. All right, so 2, we now know y is 8 plus 2x equals 108. So we got 16. And then we can subtract 16 from both sides. All right, got 108 minus 16 gives me 92. All right, and then I got to take 92 divided by 2. How many people are on each bus?
46.
46. And what did we say? Maybe around 50? All right, so to answer our question, we are actually going to write 8 students per van. And then we write 46 students per bus. All right, so if you can see, number 4 is very similar to this. Now, I actually want to go to Now let's go to number 10. This will be the last one we'll do together. Number 10. So I don't know if any of you guys, this is my favorite time of November, is all the desserts. So guys, what is the best Thanksgiving dessert?
Dirt pudding.
Dirt pudding?
That is
Yeah, I've
so
had
good.
dirt pudding. It's okay. It's just not.
It's the best.
That is so good.
All right, focus. Look at. Why won't this focus?
What?
All right, this is frustrating. All right, does that help? Can you guys see that a little better? Obviously, I can adjust it, but is that better than what it was? I just want to know why this is not, like, everybody else that uses these say they have no problems with it focusing. Virtual kids, I'm sorry. This is the first time I've done this with this type of these types of problems. All right, here we go. This is as close as it's going to get. I'm terrified if I move it, we're not going to be able to see it anymore. All right, so here we go. Nicole and Kim are selling pies for a school fundraiser. So guys, which one's better, apple or pumpkin?
Pumpkin.
Apple.
Pumpkin.
Apple.
Apple pie. So
Warm
good.
apple pie is so amazing.
I like apple pie. All right, so if we want to look at this, it tells us Nicole sold 8 apple pies and 7 pumpkin pies for a total of $149. Kim sold 9 apple pies and 13 pumpkin pies for a total of $224. And we are finding the cost of each one. So what's the first thing we have to do?
Write out your X and Y.
Write out my X and Y. So we're going to let X, do you guys want X to be the cost of the apple or the pumpkin?
Pumpkin.
All right, cost of apple pie. And I honestly just wrote apple because that's what I saw first. And then I'm going to let Y equal the cost of pumpkin pie. All right, so this time we have 2 scenarios. We have 2 people selling for 2 different totals. So let's write Nicole's equation first. What should we write? 8x plus 7y equals 149. And what about an equation for Kim?
9x plus 13y equals 224.
9x plus 13y equals 224. All right, now how should we multiply to get these to eliminate? All right, so I would just recommend taking those and multiplying by the opposite because we know 9 times 8 and 8 times 9 are going to give us the same thing. Does it matter which one you make a negative?
No.
All right, do you guys want to make the top? All right, so we are ready to multiply. All right, negative 9 times 8 gives me negative 72x. Negative 9 times 7 gives me negative 63y. And then negative 9 times 149, negative 1341. All right, now we got to multiply the bottom equation by 8. So 8 times 9 is 72x. 8 times 13 is a positive 104y. And then 8 times 224 is 1,792. All right, so the x's eliminate. So what do you guys get when you add negative 63 and that positive 104?
41.
41y.
And then for the constant side, negative 1341 plus 1792. What do we get for that number?
451.
451. And then we divide 451 by 41. Get us an answer of 11. So, which pie is 11?
No, it's pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
All right, does it mean we sold 11 pumpkin pies or a pumpkin pie is $11? What are we solving for?
It's $11.
All right, we're solving for a cost. So if you guys want to go ahead and write that your pumpkin pie cost $11, I'm okay with that. If you want to write your labels first and then go back and solve, or you can solve them both and then label it at the very end. All right, so I got to... All right, so now I know y is 11. Do you guys want to use 8x or 9x? Which original do you want to use?
8.
All right, so 8x plus 7, we now know y is 11. So we got 8x plus 77 equals 149. All right, I'm running out of room, so I'm actually going to just write minus 77 here to get 8x is 72. What's 72 divided by 8?
9.
All right, so then that tells us our apple pie is going to cost $9 for the fundraiser. All right, so there's just about everything. All right, so if you guys want to know on Friday how I'm going to grade these. So you guys will be doing some of these on your own on Friday for a grade. The first thing I will do is each one of these will be worth a point. So like you will get a point for telling me what X is and what Y is. All right, I promise it should be focused. I don't know why it's not. All right, then you will get a point for writing each equation. You will get 2 points for solving the first variable, 2 points for solving these, and then a point for each label. So how many points is this question worth?
10.
2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are worth 10 points apiece. And guess what? 4 of them are labeling. So 4 of the points, you get 2 points for labeling your X's and Y's and 2 points for labeling at the end. So just think about it. What's a 6 out of 10 is a D minus. So, and I will tell you on a standardized test, which juniors, you will be taking I-STEP in February. I can 100% guarantee you that you're going to have equations where you are going to be told to identify the variable, set up your equations, and solve. This is exactly what we're doing. We're identifying our variables, we set up the equations, and then we solve them, showing work. So if you identify, or if you don't identify your variables, you don't get, like if you just write X equals apple pie and Y equals pumpkin pie, you don't get your point for identifying you have to say you're finding the cost. You have to be very specific. So that's what it's honestly, when you are identifying your variables, you want to be more you want to over describe it. It's better to over describe it than under describe it. So make sure that you're including a cost or a number, whatever, and honestly just reword the question. So if you see here the cost of each apple pie, cost of each pumpkin pie, like if you want to reword it exactly like the question, that's going to guarantee you're going to get your full points for that. So this packet, there's 10 questions total. When do I want this?
Thursday.
All right, it's due Thursday. It says 4 o'clock. So for you guys, that means it's Thursday as long as it's turned in before you leave for the day on Thursday. And on Thursdays, I actually stay here until 4. So as long as I have it before I leave at 4 o'clock on Thursday, I am good. So you guys, how much time do we have left today? I've lost my clock. 10 minutes. So you guys will have some class time to work tomorrow. We're going to do a few examples with coins, but since our Wednesday assignment is short, if you guys don't have time tonight or tomorrow, like take advantage of the fact that our assignment's short on Wednesday and get that done.
What is it, just like a survey thing or whatever?
It's just a quick check, like I have 3 of them for you just to check, and it'll tell you immediately if you're right or wrong. All right, and virtual kids, if you have any questions, make sure to email me, and I'm free from 1:15 to 2 o'clock today and tomorrow if you guys need anything.